casual playthrough, and I'll probably try and show this off when I'm at the Numara Atoll later for the extra donated buffs. There's these little silver Kellerlons, and anyone who's finished the game or played a decent amount of it has gone to this beach and grinded on these little silver Kellerlons for ages and ages and ages to get their like to get achievements or just to level up or something. Because generally in I just missed a safe point. I'll have to run back out. Generally, you will get to an area. Start of disc 2, or nearly the start of disc 2, and you can level up to level 67, I think, off them. So, you know, all the guides that tell you to level and stuff tell you to go there and cast Gamble on these things. And the reason you cast Gamble is because they have a really high magic defense and a really high physical evade. And they have a high chance of running away as well. So you combine casting support, which we don't use in the speedrun, and Gamble so that you can cast Gamble on them, have it not miss, and cast it before they run away.
Okay, so those things would be another slime for the Lost Odyssey world?
Very possibly, yeah. They're sort of like cactuars, you know. The cactuars usually give you a lot of something, you know, a lot of money or a lot of experience or something. They sort of fit that same category because they've got high evade and everything as well.
Let your guard down, eh?
Alright, so this is like the part of the game where I'm most underleveled. All of these guys basically have maybe gained like 1 level the entire game, and I'm in this area where they can basically get one shot by pretty much everything. So I'm going to be trying to flee as quickly as I can, hopefully getting in before I get attacked, but quite often I'm just going to get smashed up like this. Now, Cook's in the back row, and my GC is full, so these guys are doing 1/10 of their normal damage. And fortunately, these guys always attack the character with the lowest HP, so Cook's just going to get smashed here a bit, and then we'll get away, and then I'll make sure to heal her so that she doesn't get hit again. But if it wasn't for that HP mechanic, then this whole area would be a lot more interesting. It would be a lot less workable with. Yeah, a lot less safe.
So, if I remember correctly from when I played, GC is this mechanic that basically says how many characters did you start the battle with in the front row?
Yes.
And that depletes, or that lowers damage to the back row, but as characters in the, I want to say, front get hit, your GC goes down?
Yeah, so basically the GC is the addition of all of your front rowers' HP. And it's sort of separate to your HP. If you heal your HP, it doesn't necessarily heal your GC. And as a result of that, you know, if you have you know, a full complement of characters in the front row with full HP, but their GC has been depleted, then yeah, you'll still take a lot of damage in the back row.
We just didn't want to get
Is this the Great Karaka that I'm seeing right now?
Great.
I'm honoured to be sitting within a small number of meters within the Great Karaka.
I like how you use the meters instead of you know?
Yeah. Yeah, sir, if you want to grab a sleep.
Feel free to join.
Yeah.
Now the chat's gonna go mad because they're finally seeing Karaka.
Sorry, got homework to do.
I'd normally be a little bit more risky with how like I run through here and go with healing and all that, but it's pretty bad if whoa, it's pretty bad if you end up losing
And so
here.
the oh my god begins. It's already started.
Are you some kind of beast?
On what?
No.
No, the lava's beside me. Yeah, up here.
Look at me.
Yep. And so it begins.
Was Lab 4 not even on?
No, people were saying it was quiet, but I figured I'd listen. I knew.
Okay, so can people hear me now? As I was, asking what I thought were reasonably intelligent questions about the game mechanics, and Spud was doing a great job of explaining them. But you know what? If you were just going to make fun of me, let's see. What can I actually ask about?
Actually,
What's
they
it
just
like
said
being upside down in Australia?
I don't know how to I don't know how to pronounce the words that I need to say to answer that question. Upside down.
Forgive me.
So, since you're so under-leveled here by comparison, does everything have much higher, whatever it's called in this game, agility, speed, whatever they might call it?
I don't think speed is really factored in. I think that's more of a static thing because I tend to go faster than some things. Like that previous fight, there is a random element to it too. I'm not sure exactly how the speed works in this game, but some of the encounters in here I will go ahead of and be able to flee in time. Others are not that way. But I would considering, like, I'm probably meant to be about level 40 at this point. I'm level 20. So on that basis, I would say that, getting fleas before these guys have turns would probably suggest that there's not a huge amount of, like leveling that you can do to speed up your speed.
Okay.
Oh, dude, I probably should have stayed back.
Yeah, I was like, you just decided to go home.
There's two geysers coming out of that wall, and they could have knocked me into the ground, and that probably would have cost me like a minute. But
Yeah, dude, you're like no guts, no glory.
Would it just have knocked you back to the beginning of this little area?
just down into like this little like puddle area where I would have like been moving around, like wading around really slowly. Okay, where are we at? I used to have a lot of trouble on this fight, and I realized I was just doing it way too defensively, so it's a little bit whole hog now. It's still pretty risky though. It's a pretty full-on fight, but the checkpoint's pretty safe. So.
Scroll up, see what I missed.
Your wife said Team Edmonton represent.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't argue with this. I'm not even from Edmonton, but I have to agree with that.
Alright, so for a casual playthrough, this is easily the most like mean fight of the whole run. You're given all of these low-level casters that you probably haven't been leveling the entire game, and you get this boss with an undispellable permanent reflect on, and these are all casters that I'm using at the moment. Fortunately,
And, I'm gonna guess that Gamble doesn't jump through a reflect.
no, Gamble gets taken right back. So fortunately, there is one thing that will go, one spell-related thing that will go through this, and that's a bomb. So I loaded up on ground bombs before, so I've got to throw those as quickly as I can and hope that I don't get aquared too many times. I also have all these level 3 bombs that I saved from earlier on in the run. I'll basically be casting a cover and hoping that he does something reasonably innocuous on the first turn. Well, this is like the worst thing that can happen on the first turn, but it's the one I'm most prepared for, because I've got Mac in the front row with a water charm on, so he can actually survive that. Otherwise I would have one-shot him for sure. And the back row is still okay, because they're in the back row and the GP is full. But if he does that again, then yeah, some bad stuff's probably going to happen. I've sort of got enough GC to keep myself alive, basically, if he does that again, but I really do need to play this reasonably aggressively. Otherwise, if you make this fight go on for too long, then he just eventually overwhelms you, no matter what you do. Oh damn, that would have been really, if he survived that would have been really good luck. He nearly always does it on the front row.
Okay.
As long as he doesn't aqua us on the next couple of turns, we should be okay.
Okay.
That's sort of okay, but I've got to prepare for that. What am I doing? Get out of there. So with Ice Spike, it means it's all of my back rollers are going to be frozen next turn, so they won't be able to do anything. So I want to put covers on all of them so that they can actually survive a few hits while they're out of action. Oh, but they're a bit slowed, damn it. It's okay. They're just going to be out of action while hopefully... Oh dude, he did Ice Mine. That's like a really rare thing. He nearly always follows up his previous attack with... Oh, do I still want to cast these or not? I guess I do. I should cast soon. Yeah, okay. That was a good call. It's a bit annoying that you can't see the turn order ahead of when you cast, because otherwise you could prepare for things like this. There's a lot of like memorization as far as you know, which actions go before which abilities and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, that was a good call. I'm playing this pretty defensively, but yeah, just would have killed them, pretty much all of them before that. So yeah, because of the previous ability to cast, all of the back rowers had freeze on them, so I've just sort of got to hope that Max survives this, maybe? I don't think he is actually. Still sort of okay. Oh, Ming absorbed that was nice. That was because I had the talisman on her.
Wow. That was actually...
That was pretty lucky, actually.
Yeah, it was.
That was a stupidly unlucky fight, though.
Yeah.
And that's the end of disc 3. Just one more to go.
Woo.
We get to play with some glitches on the next disc, so it should be pretty cool. We do have to start with Ancient Temple, or Ancient Ruins, which is probably my least favorite part of the game, to be perfectly honest. But
Unless you're ready. Then it's
yeah,
your favorite part.
then it's like her favorite part, and she like had a great time there because she's a mad person. But pretty much anyone who's played this game got into the next area that I'll be going to and just got lost endlessly. And when Rinny played it, she just like walked through and did everything perfectly the first time. It made me really angry. Whoa, what? Menu, please. Cables everywhere.
So many cables. So many cables. Into bed, man. Okay, see you tomorrow, bro.
Good night.
Take care.
Have fun.
Well,
There it goes.
that seemed about normal.
Hmm?
That seemed about normal.
What?
Quick arrow.
Yeah, he seems
Very quiet.
yeah.
Very reserved. Cool guy. Okay.
To be perfectly honest, not anything like I expected him to look like.
Same way, but hey, he seems legit. So.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Now, there's a lot of route changes on this disc that I've got to remember. I don't have to do anything yet. I've really got to remember to do a shopping trip after Ancient Fiend, which I never used to have to do. And what, 6.5 hours, or probably 6 hours and something into a run? It's going to be pretty hard to remember.
Let's not sit. You're time. I'm
What's the timer at?
I'm going to find out here shortly
Cool.
because I'm really slow with my computer. Really slow.
Dude, Rocket was hugging my leg. That's cute.
Whoa, whoa. Rock, please. Please. You gotta be careful here. Young lady, this is a PG
Yeah.
event. I know, nobody can take me serious with this hat on. You can't.
then he killed Lee.
Yeah, it's calculating, so slow down.
Actually, you know what? I am going to do a separate save, a separate shop, because I really am worried about my lack of healing items. This will probably end up costing me about 2 minutes, but
Just to go grab more.
yeah. Because I still have to do another shop after this as well. But I don't want to get I don't want to get to Ancient Fiend and then have to like back out and do a shop.
Yeah, I don't know what your time is at, right?
That's all good.
Yeah, it's being slow.
It would probably just depress me.
Actually, you haven't been doing bad.
I've lost. I reckon I've lost about 20 minutes or so
So
far.
what? You're at about 620.
Probably about 6 at the moment, I think.
That's not bad at all. I mean, what would you say would an average run be?
Like with donation incentives, I would probably expect. And I'll just do this menuing.
735, 740.
Well, like a really good disc 1, 2, and 3 time is 5 hours, but this is with donation incentives and mistakes and lots of other horrible things. So it's sort of hard to guess. Maybe like 5:30 would be like a really good marathon percent time.
It's not bad at all.
But I suspect I'm probably touching about 6 now. It's still not bad. I haven't made any like catastrophic like run-ending mistakes like I almost did when I.
Cutscene mistake, though.
Yeah, that's actually probably the biggest mistake I've made
Yeah,
so far. That cost a fair bit of time. No, I haven't actually had to do this before. What's the closest one going to be? Okay, it's going to be Saman. So yeah, normally I'd just barrel my way through to the next boss, and I need to do the major shopping trip of the run after that. But yeah, I was a little bit apprehensive about doing that with so few healing items. I really shouldn't need any healing items for Ancient Fiend, but it'll be good to have them anyway, especially while I was just remembering it. Should give shout outs to the Nautilus, which is like the transport in this game. It's, you know, what's currently floating around on the water. It's actually really cool because it does everything. It's the submarine, it's the plane, you know, the airship, and it's the boat all in one. There's only one thing that it can't do, and that's go through these gigantic ice areas, which you need the white boa for. We'll meet the white boa later on, and you'll understand very quickly why it's really annoying in a speedrun because it's just incredibly slow. So we've already been through the white boa. We went through it on disc 1, but we don't see it for quite a while, and then all of a sudden we can use it. So this is the ancient ruins, and everyone except for Rinny got lost here on their first playthrough. I don't know how Rinny managed to avoid it, but she just barreled her way through here. It was incredibly depressing to watch, given how long I spent in here, just being endlessly lost. Now that I know the speedrun route for it, though, it's not as hard as it seemed the first time, but you know, it's pretty much slower as anything like this.
Let's get out.
Okay. So is it just very maze-like, or?
Yeah, like there's this section coming up where you split into 2 groups, and while there's generally only one direction to go, you have to, I'll point it out when I get there, but there's certain things you have to do with each person along the way, and if you manage to forget one or miss one, then you've got to like backtrack with the other person for ages. When you've got like 2 people walking 2 different paths, if you actually get lost or you can't find the next trigger, then yeah, you just get stuck for ages and ages and ages trying to backtrack to where you need to go.
Okay.
The other annoying thing about this area is that because you get split up, and because because your formation is slightly randomized. I think it's always the same, but for some reason, because you had access to the mortals previously, it seems to prioritize them in your party setup. You sometimes don't have Turntail on like the people who need to have Turntail on, which can screw you up a little bit as well. So these platforms here are what I'm talking about. There's a few of these hidden along each of the platforms that you travel along. You've got to hit them down, otherwise
said it, but I think actually watching it will make a little more sense.
Yeah, so like at the moment I've just gone basically as far as I can with Khan. I'm going to stop in front of this cube and then change characters. And the reason I'm stopping in front of the cube is going to become apparent. So this platform is the one I just knocked down, and it's actually going to take me down instead of up like the other one did. So now if I run all the way over to the next area, I should be able to get to the point where I can drop the platform in front of that cube that was in the ground, and then Khan will be able to advance as well. As you can, but the next boss is always entertaining. There's a lot of bosses in this that you know have a lot of gambles in them. They require a decent amount of gamble. Like the next one, it doesn't really matter how long it takes you to beat it. You can, as long as you've got enough plumes, which I've got plenty of here, you're always going to beat it with the speedrun strat.
And
But
sorry, enough plume.
Angel plumes, which are like Phoenix Downs from Final Fantasy.
Revives dead characters, okay.
Yeah, so if you've got enough of those, you can survive pretty much as long as you need to. But because Gamble is pretty much the only consistent way you can deal damage to him, the fight can be drawn out by a factor of 5 or 6 minutes if you get really bad Gamble, or it can be cut short by like 2 minutes if they're really good. Be careful that not everyone's defending. It's weird. You have 3 parties in here. You have each of the 2 parties when you split up, and then you have a third one when you go back together. And sometimes you can just pick just the wrong people, so that you end up with a whole party that doesn't have Turntail. But I'm fortunate enough to have at least 2 Turntails in each party this time.
Now, does Turntail always succeed?
Yeah, Turntail's the always succeed flea, which we picked up in like halfway through disc 1. The regular flea command in this is pretty useless, which we learned at the start of disc 1 a couple of times actually, because I had these guys that I don't fight because they're usually really easy to run away from, and they're really hard to beat at that point in the game with the equipment that you have in the speedrun, so you just try and run away from them, but I failed like 3 times and probably lost about a couple of minutes just trying to flee from these things.
Oh, gross.
And the first boss, the encounter after the first boss, this one was my fault because I forgot to heal after the first boss, which sometimes you have to do, sometimes you don't. And as a result, the first encounter was like the worst encounter I could possibly get, and Flea failed like 4 or 5 times, and then they killed me before I could get out, so. Fortunately, it only ended up costing about, 5 minutes or something, even though I had to redo the previous boss to it.
If anyone was wondering what I was snickering at, sort of over Spud's shoulder.
You need like a rear vision camera over here so I can see what's going on behind.
Like, get a full 360 of the antics of this place.
Yes, there's always something going on behind me and I'm missing out on all the action.
I have a locked cash box for in-person donations, but I just hadn't bothered to put the loony that Railkun won his bidding war with earlier into the cash box. It didn't seem worth the effort to unlock the cash box, put the loony in, and lock the cash box again, so I just left it sitting on top. And Railkun was, I don't know, making shifty eyes at the shiny golden loony.
Let's take him down.
I am being cubed here.
Yeah. This is a witch hunt. Oh dude, Sarah was still set to attack. Yeah.
Okay, he was just holding the loony to remind me to do that. Okay. It wasn't his loony, he was holding it for someone else.
Oh, of course.
Because this motion that someone means I'm holding.
Okay, you've seen how observant I've been all night. I almost tripped over a computer cord not 2 minutes ago. I think you could do this. Poxnor, I'm taking your loony. And I'd go, oh, whatever. wake up the next morning and go, where the heck is my loony?
Aside from looking at one?
You know, you
Shots.
shouldn't use that sort of zinger when I'm looking at you.
I know.
Okay.
But why would I be next to you the next morning?
What?
What?
Because you said you'd wake up the next morning.
I hope I just do that in general. I would hope to wake up tomorrow morning.
Yes.
I know I say this marathon is killing me a little, but I meant just a little.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I've been through and I've picked up a couple of chests and stuff in here. The first one, I'm actually not sure if, I don't think it's required. I think you can actually leave without it, but it has a tutorial attached to it, and it actually upgrades my my treasure locator to level 2, which I need to pick up a very important item. And if any of you have been astute enough to be following this through the whole run, you would have remembered me mentioned this on disc 2. There's an item I need to pick up that I can't pick up while I'm there. I've got to go back in a separate trip and grab it. And that is the reason that I can't pick it up on disc 2. I need to come here and grab that magic locator. I also need to get some treasure information, but that's half the reason. The other one I picked up was some dragon scales, which are generally used for ring synthesis to get yourself some more equipment in the form of rings. And I basically picked them up. I have no interest in making any of those rings, but they do sell for a fair bit. So it's sort of a marathon safety thing, just in case I don't have enough money, which is probably a good thing because I spent a fair bit more on angel plumes and healing items in this run than I normally would have. So hopefully, well actually there's still a safety 5,000 that I can pick up too later on. So I might just grab that and make sure for definite that we've got enough money. The routing part of this game, the hardest part to route was the money, because you could always make the game faster if you had an infinite supply of money, but yeah, it's...
Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's this is what we've worked out so far, and it seems to go pretty well. The old rat used to use, I mentioned this on disc 3, used to use this trick where you can go in and out of this room a whole bunch of times. It costs about 4 minutes, but you get about 40,000 gold out of it, and that used to be what you used for the whole run, but yeah, it's a little bit different now. It's a fair bit faster to do it this way.
Okay. So I actually think it's kind of interesting you said the run would be a whole lot faster if you had infinite money. Because I know that...
By a whole lot faster, I mean probably like 5 or 6 minutes or so. You'd just be able to buy more bombs, basically.
Okay. Okay, I was curious what it was that would make it faster.
Yeah, there's still like enough money to get most of the really fast stuff done, but there's a couple of extra shopping trips that you have to do because you have to buy stuff and then go back, or like buy stuff, continue the story, get more money from bosses, and then go back again.
It's basically just linearize.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to go for quite as many shopping trips. To be perfectly honest, I haven't completely optimized the marathon percent shopping on this disc. I'll be sort of playing it by ear. I just know what I need to get and buy when. But because of the extra marathon stuff and the fact that I went for an extra shopping trip on top of all that at the start of this disc, for those extra healing items, you can probably expect about 4 or 5 shopping trips during this disc. So there's probably some extra optimization to happen there, but yeah, the marathon route with the extra bosses was sort of just added in. So it was hard to reroute the whole disc just to make room for the marathon incentives. But I mean, at the end of the day, the extra shopping trips aren't really that big of a deal. But for the speedrun itself, it would save a fair bit of time if you could just buy everything you needed like right at the start.
Well, trust me when you say, you know, I didn't want to go back and re-optimize everything. Nothing gives me a heart attack like someone in an RPG marathon saying, "Oh yeah, I just worked out the shopping and money route for the entire game this morning, but I know it'll be good."
No, basically the only thing I need to buy for all of the marathon extras is 12 grounder spawns, and basically if I have those, then the Blue Dragon doesn't require any extra items, and Holy Beast is 12 grounder spawns. I'll probably buy a couple of extras for safeties, and I can end up using those later on anyway for the final fight. So it's all pretty well organized. I just have to make sure I actually buy the right things when I get to the right locations. That's my biggest problem. I'm incredibly forgetful. So even with my notes, I can forget stuff. Very important stuff sometimes. But I don't know. I've done okay so far. The major thing that I've forgotten is the cutscene.